When I was 14, I could not even look at people in the eye, and now I dance with strangers every single week. And here are the three things that helped me get to where I am now. So the first thing is exposure therapy. Complete game changer. Completely changed my life. So exposure therapy in psychology or therapy is a concept where, let's say, you're afraid of spiders. So let's say you faint whenever you see a spider, no matter how tiny it is. What the therapist will then do is to first get you used to the idea of spiders first. So instead of putting a spider right in front of you, what they do is they make you think about a spider. That's it. They first make you think about a spider, and then they may make you think in depth, like a spider crawling, spider moving from one area to another, and then they might show you a picture of the spider, so forth and so forth. It goes up in stages, right? And then the final stage will be to show you an actual spider in a jar or something. So exposure therapy is designed to take you stage by stage from where you are at here to here, from being deathly afraid of spiders to not giving a damn about spiders, essentially, right? And it also works the exact same way when it comes to social anxiety. The more you practice, the more you go out there, put yourself out there, the more you put yourself in uncomfortable situations, the better you're going to get at it, the better you're going to be at overcoming social anxiety, and that's how it works. So let's say you cannot even look people in the eye, which was me when I was 14. I could not even look at people in the eye. I would cringe. I would think of all sorts of things like, oh, what if I look them wrong, and then they might get mad, and then they might beat me up, and then again, social anxiety is when your brain, right, the part that's trying to protect you from all sorts of dangers, overdoes the job. So it gives you all sorts of irrational beliefs and thoughts in an attempt to keep you protected, to make you stay in that comfort zone that you've created yourself. Yeah. So back to my point. If you are scared of even looking people in the eye, I want you to first think, right? Imagine, visualize you're going to look at someone passing by you at the street, and then you're going to get out there. This is the hard part. And then you're actually going to go out there, and you're going to look someone in the eye. Half a second, 1 second, doesn't matter. That's it. That's all you need to do. Look them in the eye. One person, done, and that's it. Next person passes you by, look them in the eye. Look them a bit longer, 1-2 seconds. Next person, smile. Next person, look them in the eye, smile, keep doing that. Next person, start saying hi. You're going to get from here to here, and you can't just go all the way from not being able to look people in the eye to inviting them to parties and asking them to be your friend. You can't do that. So you got to start small. I don't want you to have a what do you call it? I don't want you to feel pressured, okay, and overthink and not do this in the first place. That is the worst part. I want you to actually go out there and do that, okay? Exposure therapy changed my life. It all comes down to exposure therapy. And the second step to being charismatic is to be a good listener. Being a good listener is an in real life cheat code. Let's say, hypothetically, that you have nothing to offer in conversations, that you haven't accomplished much, you have no stories to tell to the other person, right? And let's just say that, even though it's totally wrong, you have a lot to offer, I have a lot to offer to someone, right? We've all accomplished a lot. And even watching this video makes you an interesting person because, number one, not only you're self-aware, number two, you're also actively working on improving. You're actively working to overcoming social anxiety. Anyhow, back to the point. Even if you have nothing to offer, and this is something I learned from a communication coach Ving Yang or Vanessa Van Edwards. Even if even if you've got nothing to offer to the other person, you can offer them your energy. It's a game changer, right? You don't have to say anything, but just by being a good listener, people will think you're charismatic. People like to talk, right? And sometimes they have nobody to talk to. You can be just that person. And being a good listener involves a couple of things. Number one, you try to not be judgmental. Some people like to... Okay, so when you're listening, some people like to go, what? That's something I'm trying to not do it myself as well. Okay, sometimes people just want you to listen. That's it. They have no one to talk to, and you can just be that person for them, right? Just listen without judgment. You don't have to offer any advice. You don't have to change their life. You don't have to influence them for the better. You just listen to them. That's all you do. And then you can perhaps go a step further in the future. You can start adding a few head nods. You can start offering your own opinion if they ask for it, and if you feel that situation is warranted. Sometimes you just don't know whether what the other person want. Of course, the easiest way is to just ask them, do you just want me to listen, or do you want me to actually give advice? But even I don't do that every single time I talk to someone. So sometimes you can offer your advice, and if they say, hey man, I just want you to listen, that's fine. Step back a little bit and just listen. Be a good listener. Being a good listener changed my life. It changed the way I form relationships. It changed the way I connect with people. It changed the way I talk to my patients. I realized that I'm a pretty good listener when my patients, no matter the background, the age, the conditions, the situations, they would tell me things that they normally don't even tell the family or their friends. Right? Me, a complete stranger. That's what being a good listener does, right? It lets you access to what's going on in the psyche. It lets you become a better storyteller. It lets you become a better story enjoyer. Another reason why I am doing this is to improve my own storytelling, and I love listening to people's stories. I love listening to what their dreams are, what their goals are, what they're afraid of, and what would they like their life to be if money isn't an issue, so to speak. So being a good listener is another thing you can do to be charismatic, right? And I say that it is a game changer, because what people think, or when someone says charisma or being charismatic, is that they would overthink, and you have to go out there in the world. You have to go with your head held high, chest high. I'm not saying you can't do that. You can do that. You absolutely can do that, right? But you have to go into a crowded room with your chest held high, and then you have to greet every single person, give them a firm handshake, tell a joke to everyone. It's like, has one of you guys seen Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul? Lalo. There's a villain called Lalo, right? It's exactly like Lalo. There's a scene where he would enter a cartel. He enters into a villa, and then he goes to a pool, and he'll be greeting all these people, the cartel's family and friends, and that's what people think when being charismatic is. But sometimes you don't have to be that. You don't have to be a performer. You can just listen. Shut up, zip it, and just listen. It will take you a long way. And the final thing when it comes to being charismatic is to have better conversations. What do I mean by that? Well, in Australia, it's very notorious for people having superficial relationships, right? So I've traveled to a few countries, and in my experience, Australians are very friendly, extremely friendly. But what I find is that most of us are, well, I'm Australian, so I'm one of them as well. Most of us are friendly at a superficial level, unfortunately. So you'll be asking them like, oh, how's your weekend? How's the weather? How are your kids? Blah 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 blah. Never going fully deep down into their hobbies, what makes them keep going in life, what keeps them going when times are tough. Right? Now, I'm not saying that you deserve to know all the personal stuff from the get-go, from the first minute, right? From the first meeting, when you're meeting someone for the first time. I'm not saying you have to do that. But what I'm saying is the key to developing friendships and build amazing connections is to have better conversations. I'll give you an example. So this morning, right, I just did a run and I went to buy some skin cleanser, and I went to a chemist, and there was this cashier, right, and before she served me, she was serving another customer who was buying a lotto. Right, a lotto is basically a lottery, right? You can win up to, I don't know, $100 million, I think, in Australia. Anyhow, so she did that, right? She served that customer, and then when she turned around to serve me, without overthinking, I asked her, hey, just out of curiosity, what would you do if you had won $1 million? And then I turned my head to the lottery counter. So she understood, right? At first she was like, oh, I haven't really thought about it yet. Then I kept being persistent. I asked her a little bit more. So, have you never daydreamed? Daydreamt? Is that a word? Have you never daydreamed of it before? And then her eyes would lit up, and she would tell me, oh, I would love to travel. I would love to go to Europe. I've never been overseas. For my life, I've been in Australia. I would love to help my friends and my family, buy them a home. And she was really into it. Like, she was really passionate about it, right? And you can only get to that sort of level. You can only build that sort of connection with someone when you go past the superficial, I would say, polite greetings and polite sayings. Like, how's the weather? How's your weekend? You know, sometimes you gotta take a risk and just be okay with the fact that people might not want to tell you what they truly feel, how they truly think, right? And you shouldn't as well, because as much as I believe in good people, there are bad people in the world who will just take advantage of you. But what I'm saying is, we never let ourselves get to that stage, right? How was the weekend? How long have you been working for? Do you like your job? What days do you work? And the more you keep asking these questions, the more tired you get. And not only you, the more tired they get as well. Ask better questions. And it takes time. It took a long time for me. And in fact, I'm trying to break the mold too. I'm trying to get out of this habit of asking superficial questions, right? And in this journey of truth-seeking and making better connections, I will be rejected hundreds of times. Doesn't matter. I don't give a flying damn, right? At the end of the day, I love listening to people's stories. And a few people that reject me, right? And let me say this to you, right? When you're on this path of self-improvement and you are not treated You're not being treated the way you want to be treated. Let's say you go say hi and then they look at you angrily. So what the hell did you just say? 99.99% of the time, it's more on them rather than on you. Even me, I'm not 100% happy most of the time. And there are days where I would go, bloody hell, I don't want to talk to anyone. I just want to get home. But this is what I'm saying. It's more so a reflection on themselves and not on you. So keep trying. Keep going. Right? When you're on this journey of overcoming social anxiety, it's going to be uncomfortable because you're doing something that you've never done before, right? You want to go from here to here, but you cannot get from here to here without going through the trials and tribulations of this journey. It sucks. It's going to be painful, and some days you're even going to think, what am I doing? It's better to just, go home, go into this corner, and then curl up in a little ball. But that's not going to do anything. You're just going to stay where you are. You're getting nowhere, right? Okay. Let's wrap this up. I don't want you to overthink. I want you to just use one method, one technique from this video, right? One technique. Exposure therapy. Keep saying hi to someone until it becomes an issue. It no longer becomes an issue for you. Or number 2, you make better conversations, have better relationships, deeper conversations, get past superficial conversations. Use any of that. Use any of the 3 techniques, right? Become a better listener. Just pick one and deliberately practice every single day, every single time you talk to someone. Just pick one. Don't overthink it. Do not overthink it. Just pick one and keep practicing every single time. Every single time you talk to someone, every single time you pass someone, every single time you are out there with your friends.